My name is Jumara Nichifrani. I'm ADRA South Africa Country Director. And today we are here at Mopane Lodge, where ADRA Africa, in collaboration with the Department of Youth Ministries, are training the youth on disaster preparedness and intervention. This is a very, very important workshop, more so because people are being trained here and all of us are being trained as trainer of the trainers, meaning to say, when we leave this place, we will be going to roll out this training in all the conferences and targeting our young people. And this, as a country office or as ADRA South Africa, will help us, firstly, in terms of timeliness in response in disasters. With such an army of young people being trained, we will be able to respond to all the disasters here in South Africa.
And also there's an aspect of them responding to disasters if they happen in their community. So basically we are here to help the youth acquire the skills that they need to help not only the church but also the community. They will provide the surge capacity that is required in case of a disaster, or to help the community mitigate the effects of disasters in their communities.
And so what they're teaching us is that now that we have an understanding of that, we need to go back and train young people so that in their communities, they're able to assess the hazards that are there that could eventually lead to disasters. They can learn how to prevent those hazards from becoming big disasters, how to mitigate them, how to soften the blow of those disasters, and eventually how to make our communities resilient. In other words, how to enable them to bounce back from a disaster so that a disaster does not completely wipe out a community.
What I've learned is the skills on how to reduce the impact, the effects of these hazards that are prophesied in the Bible. Drought is there, famine is there, floods are definitely going to come, storms are going to come. But what are we going to do about it? Sit down and cry and pray. Not only that, but also need to learn how we can minimize the deaths and the loss of lives just by having some factors that are being taught about right now.
And we went to the community and I saw how we've been blessed. At times we cry over simple things, just like rain that has just rained, but you have somewhere to sleep where it's dry and warm. And in the community we saw that there are people who are actually suffering, and us as youth we have a lot of work that we are supposed to do to help this kind of people, not only physically but also spiritually, because when you encourage them you're supposed also to help them to grow. And after helping them to grow, our main aim is that we all be saved.
And in this training, we have talked about communication. Communication is very important, and we were training these youth to be able to know what is the best way to communicate during a disaster. What do you say? How do you say it?
Disasters, they are there, and mostly they have got the human hand in them. And as individuals, as communities, as organizations, as nations, we can do a lot in trying to curb or reduce mostly fatalities that comes because of disasters.
The main thing that I'm going to do when I go back to my country, I'll try to implement and teach everyone around me and the community that I come from, especially in my conference, to try and train as many youth as possible so that we become the ambassadors of ADRA in the world.
When there's a disaster, we don't just jump in, we plan. And part of the plan is to monitor what we are doing. What are we doing? What do we hope to get? What has happened? What are we responding to? Are we actually, the activities we are taking, do they really respond to the problem that we have at hand? And then we try to be accountable, because most of the time money is given by other people. other donors, they are also stakeholders, and we need to be able to give an account on how we have spent the money and how the activities match the events that we have at hand.
ADRA responded in Mozambique, Malawi and Zimbabwe, but we came to realize the capacity we have is not enough. We need to get into the churches, work with the youths. They have the technology, they need the skill set. We just need to empower them so that we can work with them when we are responding to such kind of disasters, and even during the slow onset disasters.
Now, if we don't empower our young people with skills so that they can be useful in their communities and also useful for themselves, by the way, to get good livelihoods, it means they can engage in very negative activities. But we were asked at some point by some people in UNICEF, and they said, the Adventist Church, you are such a big church and you have so many people. How are you empowering them to be useful in the response to disasters? So this is part of making our young people useful in helping others. And as I said, this is a technical area and they need the right skill sets. So a passion is not enough, but the right skills can make them very useful.
In my language, isiZulu, we say imfundo ayikukelwa, meaning you never are too old to learn something new. And I'm here and I'm learning as a leader, I'm learning new things. We are put in, a class situation and we are learning writing project proposals and how to identify risk and minimize it and mitigate it. All these things we have learned in this training. And I want to appreciate Sister Hannah, who is the leader of the delegation from ADRA Africa, who have come here to train us. We are really, really impressed by their professionalism and their dedication and enthusiasm as they teach our leaders to be ready for disasters and manage them.